Good morning, dear medical students. Today we are going to discuss the second lesson of the listening and speaking skills of Unit 7 entitled Discovery and Invention. Now, please open your unlocked student book on page 126. 126. In this lesson, we are going to discuss and have some practice on some listening skills. Listening 1. In exercise 1, it says, match the words in bold in the sentences from 1 to 8 to their definitions from A to H. Have a minute to have a look on them. Now let's practice them together. Number 1. Al-Jazari designed machines to help with farming. He made drawings and gave detailed descriptions on how to build these machines. It's to make plans for something. How to build these machines. So it's C. Paper is a very common invention. People use it in their everyday lives. It's found everywhere and known to many people. So it's B. This museum contains a lot of interesting exhibitions. It means to have something inside, contains something inside. So it's G. The Chinese developed gunpowder and used it for weapons. Developed, it means to invent something, so it's H. Sat Nav is a small device in your car which tells you where to go. So, device. It's a piece of equipment which is used for a specific purpose. It's E. I have bought a new phone, but I need to read the instructions on how to connect it to the internet. Instructions. The information on how to do something, so it's H. It's F. The teacher drew a diagram showing how the machine worked. A diagram. It's a drawing showing how something works. So it's A. There is no ink left inside this pen. It doesn't write anymore. Ink. It's a colored liquid used for writing or drawing. So it's D. Now, as you can see, you have 4 pictures. A, B, C, and D. Have a look on these photographs. And then match the inventions, the name of the inventions on your left-hand side with the suitable, appropriate photo on your right-hand side. A, it looks like gunpowder. B, the crankshaft. Do you know what's the crankshaft? The crankshaft is a long metal rod which connects the power steering in the car. It connects the engine, the power steering, to the engine, to the wheels. So movement can be transformed and transported from the engine wheels because the car can move. So the crankshaft is a long metal rod connecting the engine to the wheels to make them move. So I presume that the photograph B is this crankshaft. Number C, it's obvious, it's chess. And number D, I can see the Fontaine ink. The Fontaine pen, which uses ink in writing. Now, please listen to extract 7.1. How can you do that? Exit full screen and double click on this microphone on your right hand side, on this speaker. And then tell me in what order they mentioned the previous inventions. Yeah? First, they spoke about the Fontaine pen, and then the chess, third the crankshaft, and finally the gunpowder. Exercise 4. Please listen again to extract audio 7.1. And then let's answer together the following questions. Number 1. When were the things in the photographs invented? Yeah, they were invented in the medieval times, the Middle Ages, I mean. Number 2. Why was the fountain pen an improvement on birds' feathers and ink? Yeah, because it was cleaner. Where was the game of chess first played? Where was that? In Persia. Who was Al-Jazari? Al-Jazari is a famous Turkish engineer. What's the crankshaft? As we mentioned, the crankshaft is a device currently used in car engines. Finally, why was the gunpowder an important invention? Because it helped in invention of new weapons. Let's see. Now let's have some listening skills. When we speak English fluently, some small words like articles, auxiliary verbs, and prepositions, they are not usually stressed. You pass on them lightly. They are called weak forms. You do not pronounce them fully. The unstressed vowel in these words is pronounced a. like the. The consonant letter that comes after the unstressed vowel is also not always spoken. So the words of or can be pronounced as uh. I don't say or. I don't pronounce the R. I don't pronounce the F. So these are called weak forms. When we speak English fluently, the articles, the auxiliary verbs, and prepositions, they are not usually stressed. We pass on them lightly. But in some situations, we need to emphasize these small words. We need to stress upon them to make them the main part of our message. So I pronounce them fully and I even stress them. This is called a strong form. So the weak form and strong forms, they are the same letters, same auxiliary verbs, and same prepositions. But it depends upon the context. Speaking fluently, I want to pass lightly on these articles, auxiliary verbs, and prepositions. I pronounce them lightly. I pass on them lightly. I unstress the vowel and do not speak and do not pronounce the consonant of this vowel. But in this is the weak forms. But in other forms, the strong forms, when I want to stress upon these small words to deliver a message, I stress upon them and pronounce them. This is called strong form. Let's have some practice. Please listen to extract 7.2, the audio 7.2. How to do that? Exit full screen and double click on the speaker on your right hand side. And then let's fill in the gaps. Number one, inventions from technology from India, Persia, China, North Africa, and the Middle East were brought to Europe. To Europe. I didn't say to Europe, no. I said to Europe. To Europe. I passed lightly on the O of to. That's a weak form. Number two, the game. The game. Weak form. The game of chess. I stressed on off. The game of chess. I stressed upon it. So the game of chess was first played in ancient India. But the modern version of the game was developed in Persia and brought to Spain in the 10th century. The crankshaft is a long arm that allows machines to move in a straight line. Number four, as we move along, you will find one of those important inventions of the medieval times. Number six, please listen to audio extract 7.3. And then let's match sentences from 1 to 3, their reasons for it. Let's practice them together. The Middle Ages were an interesting time and they were full of scientific discoveries. It's contrasting the with the earlier idea that the Middle Ages were not an interesting time. So it's B. 2. Many inventions and machines designed by medieval scholars are still in use today, and some of these inventions are very common. So, to emphasize by giving more information, and I'm adding more information. So, it's C. Many people think gunpowder is the most important invention in history. It's emphasizing and stressing that there is nothing better or more than this. There's nothing more important than gunpowder. So it's A. Another listing. When I want to refer to earlier ideas, I do not repeat the whole sentence again. So to avoid repetition, I use referrals. I use an article, for example, to refer to an earlier sentence. For example, it. When I say in 1876, Bell invented the telephone, it changed the way we communicate. I don't have to say the telephone changed the way we communicate. No, just say it. That's they're using referrals. It refers to an earlier idea or an earlier sentence. Helps us to avoid repeating the same information in the same sentence. Let's have some exercise together. We're going to read the following 5 sentences, and the highlighted words are referring to an earlier idea. We're going to locate together these earlier ideas. Number one, the first fontaine pen was made in 903 for the Caliph of the Maghreb. Before then, people used bird feathers and ink to write with. Before then refers to the year of 953. You don't have to say before the year of 953, people used bird feathers. Just say before then. So then is used as a referral. Number two, as some of you may know, the Middle Ages have often been called the Dark Ages. However, they were not dark at all. They is used for referral to an earlier idea. It refers to the Dark Ages. I don't have to say, however, Dark Ages were not dark at all. They refers to Dark Ages. Number three. In this exhibition, you can see models of some of the devices that were designed by Al-Jazari. Here, you can see his medical clocks. His refers to Al-Jazari. Number four, the invention of gunpowder has changed the way we fight wars. It changed the outcome of many medieval battles and affected the history of the world. It, it refers to the invention of gunpowder. Number five, Room 14 is dedicated to the invention of gunpowder. There, you can see early Chinese drawings which illustrate how gunpowder was used. There, it means in room 14. There is used for a girl. Now, exercise 8 and 9, you can do them as a home practice. As you can see, these are three Chinese inventions: compass, making paper, and printing. You can do some internet research to check how these inventions changed the history of the world. Are they still used? Have they led to any other discoveries? And from your point of view, which is most important? Do some internet research and do that as a home practice. Now for some language. We are going to explore together phrases used with verb make and passive verb forms. Phrases with make. Make is a verb. Many phrases can be used with the verb make, like make a discovery, make a difference, make a mistake, make an appointment, make a decision, make friends, make up your mind, and make sure. These are called allocations. Now let's use these phrases with make in some exercises. The following phrases from 1 to 8 of the verb make or made. On your right hand side, a gentle reminder of the word make and the phrases used with it. Let's complete the following gaps with the phrases used with the verb make. First one is solved for you. Some discoveries are made. Make a discovery by chance. For example, Fleming found penicillin after a failed experiment. Number 2, the invention of the light bulb has made a huge to our lifestyles. Made a huge difference. Make a difference or made a difference. Have made a big mistake. Make a mistake or made a mistake. Before you start the experiment is make. Make what? Make sure of the safety. So it's make sure. I can't make up my mind if the most important invention is gunpowder or paper. I'm confused, so I can't make up my mind. I made what with Paul? I made friends with Paul when I met him at university. Make friends. It's difficult to make a good decision. Make a decision when you are tired. And finally, if you want to see a doctor, please make an appointment. These are the collocations of the verb make. Phrases used with the verb make. Now let's read the sentences below and decide the meaning of the verb make. Does it mean cause, force, or produce? The first one is solved for you. Gunpowder was first made in China. It means first produced in China. Number 2, my professor made me rewrite my assignment because there were too many mistakes. Made me rewrite. Forced me to rewrite my assignment. Force. Email makes it easy for people to stay in touch. Email calls people to stay in touch. Means goes. Modern e-books are not made from paper. Are not produced from paper. The new discovery made a lot of people very happy. The new discovery caused a lot of people to be happy. So it means cause. I made myself stay up late and finish work. I forced myself to stay up late at night to finish my work. These are the phrases with the verb make. Second, using passive verb forms. Use passive verb forms to speak about something which happened in the past. Usually, we use them to focus on what happened to something, not who did this something. For example, Alan Turing invented the digital computer. That's an active form of the verb. To put it in the passive form, to focus on something, not on the digital computer, not on Alan Turing, I'll say the digital computer was invented in 1936. 36, yeah. So, Alan Turing invented the digital computer, it's focusing on Alan Turing. But the digital computer was invented in 1936, it's focusing on the invention. Still, I can focus on the inventor, on the person, but I shall use by before that. For example, the digital computer was invented by Alan Turing. The light bulb was developed by Edison. US form, we use verb plus the past participle of the verb. Use by when you are going to speak about someone. As we mentioned, the light bulb was invented by Edison. Putting the verb plus verb in the past participle, here you get the form of the verb. Let's have some practice. The first one is solved for you. Apple's first tablet computer was developed in the 1990s. Was developed. It's a passive verb form. Number two, the law of gravity was discovered by, we speak about someone, Isaac Newton in the 17th century. The first computer chip was invented in the 1950s. The first smartphone was created after 1997. Penicillin was first produced in 1928 by Sir Alexander Fleming. More practice on passive verb forms. Here we are going to fill the blanks with using the verb in between brackets in the correct form, either passive or active. Number one, paper was discovered in ancient China, a passive form. The telephone was invented in 1876, another passive form. Imhotep, an Egyptian architect, designed the pyramid of Djoser. It's an active form. The game of chess was brought to Europe from Persia, a passive form. This letter was written with ink, a passive form. A very early calculator was created by Blaise Pascal. Millions of people download smartphone apps every day, or so it's used in the active form. Millions of people download smartphone apps every day, or are downloading smartphone apps every day is the active form. The pictures were sent or are sent by email, a passive form. The first photograph was taken in 1826, a passive form. Finally, Edison developed his first light bulb in 1879. It's an active form. Thank you very much and wish you a good day.